So, you want to be a real estate investor, but where do you start? How do you know what information and sources to trust? That's where I come in. I'm Jonny Cattani, and this is the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast. Hey guys, real quick, before we start, go to investwithcattani.com and download my free ebook, Is Commercial Real Estate Recession Proof? Now to today's show. What's up, guys? Happy Friday. Welcome to another episode of Friday Follow-Up here on the Investor Relations Real Estate Podcast. I'm your host, Jonny Cattani, and we've done it. We've made it through another week, a big week. I mentioned last week that I had some huge news, and I'm very excited to deliver that to you today. We actually have two pieces of news, so very, very excited about that. First thing I want to mention, which has nothing to, well, I mean, it's kind of relevant. I finally figured out why I can't get the best video quality despite the setup that I have. I use a really nice camera, Sony a6000, a really nice lens, all the kind of hookups that you need to get the best quality you can. I even use an additional piece of software to boost the quality. And I figured it out. I finally figured it out after 8 months of doing this podcast. It turns out that using the light, which is a nice light, the main LED light in my office, is incorrect. You actually want it dark, and I'm just using the studio lights now to give the light, the studio lights and my backlight. And for those of you that are in video production or audio production, or just have a basic knowledge of this, are probably like, duh, Jonny, where have you been? But I've been under a rock and admittedly have not done the most research I could to figure this out. It literally just came to me one day on accident. One time I couldn't figure out why it was so dark. And this is literally 2 days ago. Couldn't figure out why it was so dark in here. And I just forgot to turn on the light. So there's a nice little glimpse into how my brain goes sometimes. But anyway, it led to me testing everything and testing the lighting. It turns out that's what we were missing. So that's huge. We love to see that, but better late than never, I always say. So without further ado, let's get to the news here. So cue the drum roll. News number one is a bit bittersweet, honestly. So we're going to start with that because there is a bit of, like I said, a bit of bad news, but like I said, it's bittersweet. So I have decided to two things. One, I already mentioned that I'm going to start coaching. So for a podcast. So because of that, it only makes sense for me to have a coach. So I have hired a coach. Shout out to Samantha Adams for that. She connected me with her podcast coach. Kevin, very excited to work with him. He's got a super dialed system. He actually has his own podcast, daily podcast. He does 7 days a week. So he understands the daily podcast, the daily grind, which is awesome. And he's going to help me kind of transition towards potentially being able to monetize, but really just, you know, I've been kind of flying by the seat of my pants when it came to this. And so now I'm finally going to have some direction, some support, and, you know, really be able to take the next step towards my podcast. He's always also going to help with my content. So much better content coming your way. We're going to do away with the Instagram page for the podcast. So that will no longer exist, and everything will flow through my personal page only. So you can follow me there at Jonny Cattani. So very, very excited for that because, again, finally going to have some direction and really take my podcast to the next level. Including potentially, teaser here, potentially adding more solo episodes. So very, very excited for that. Very excited for Kevin, for new things coming, and to hopefully really be able to take the next level and establish a little bit more credibility, not only in the real estate space, but in the podcasting space as well. So very, very excited for that. However, included with that does come a shift from my current producer, April. As you guys know, I've given her a lot of shout outs on here, to his team. So he's actually going to take over everything, coaching, social media and production as well. So that's kind of where the bittersweetness comes in. I'm extremely, extremely grateful for April, for everything she's done for the podcast, for me. When we started, neither one of us, she's done podcast production before when she started with me, but to take on a daily podcast is no easy feat. And neither one of us knew just how difficult and challenging it was on both ends, right? Being a host of one, as well as the production of one, and making sure there's one scheduled for every day, and the editing, editing multiple in a day, 2, 3, 4. I'm not sure what her biggest day was, but I'm sure she's edited a serious amount in one day. As well as, making sure that there's a clip from each one to use for social media and that everything's operating smoothly. And, and of course, I had no idea what it was going to be like recording and sending them to her and making sure she had a constant flow of recordings. So we always had them going, and we did it. We figured it out. We solved it. There were bumps along the way, and I'm going to try not to get emotional. I'm extremely grateful because, when I started this journey, I had no idea what I was doing. And quite frankly, you guys, I still have no idea what I'm doing. But at least now I'm going and asking for help, right? I'll admit, when I first started this, I didn't think the podcast, I thought it would be a little bit easier to get into podcasting by doing a daily, but ultimately, I only had real estate on my mind when I did this podcast. I was just like, I'm going to learn as much as I can, as fast as I can. And I have. I mean, what I've learned and retained from the podcast, from the guests, has just been astronomical, as well as had some incredible guests on, being able to leverage their networks when they come on and their episode airs, and all of that. And all of that will continue, right? But I didn't realize that in order to kind of become the next step in podcasting, there's a whole world to it. And from chatting with Kevin now for about a week, it's kind of the wild, wild west. There's still a lot of things that aren't there. They haven't quite figured out, kind of change periodically. And so because of that, it only makes sense for me to get a coach who really understands it better, so that I don't have to go and learn that and figure that out. I can leverage that, just like I, got a mentor in real estate and leverage their knowledge and the mentorship group. It's the same thing here, right? And again, the reason I didn't do that in the beginning is because I kind of thought this would just be a thing that happened, and I did, and it would give me credibility in the space, and it has. But I now realize that it's a skill, and not a lot of people can do it. I shouldn't say that. Everybody can do it. I honestly believe that anybody can do it. But in order to last in this, there's certain things you need to do and understand about podcasting in order to really last in the podcasting space and actually be noticed in podcasting, right? In terms of, actually showing up on searches and different, SEO things and the different nuances of the podcasting world. And so, because of that, bringing on a coach was really just the most logical thing. And through that, I was able to work it out where he's actually going to do my production as well, and kind of handle everything, which really will make it easy. But, to come full circle, I'm extremely grateful that I had someone like April to grow this with, and we were both able to learn, and she's learned a ton and is able to now take her business to the next step as well. And of course, we're still friends, and we're still in each other's network, and want nothing but to see each other succeed. And I know she will succeed in whatever she wants, and I'm going to help however I can. And so I just want her to know how extremely grateful I am to her. And she is going to handle things now for a couple more weeks, as we kind of transition everything over. Got a lot of content, a lot of recordings to move over, and strategies and things to go over. So it's going to be, should be a smooth transition, but, it's going to be over a couple weeks. So I will keep you guys updated there. So that's really, really awesome. And I'm very, very excited. Again, bittersweet, but also from a business standpoint, in terms of my personal brand, this is really the next step. And I'm very, very excited for that. So now on to the huge news, the lifestyle news. I have decided to sell my house. So huge, huge, huge update, right? I live in Salt Lake City. I think I've mentioned it before, maybe alluded to it, that I've wanted to get out of Salt Lake. I had a few places in mind, but a couple things are weighing on this, and I'll get to those. So I don't really know where I want to live. And so because of that, what I'm actually going to do is sell the house and potentially go in and buy a van, right? And take on the van life. And there's some decisions that go into this. One, not knowing where I want to live is definitely a big one, right? I don't want to just pick a city and then it be the wrong city. So by transitioning to a nomadic lifestyle, I can go to the different cities on my list and maybe even discover some that weren't even on my list and experience them and see what it's like to live there and decide if I want to do it. The other thing with that is it allows me to take my dog. Jameson's not a service animal, although he definitely could be. Well, for those who don't know, I have a 9-year-old black lab. His name is Jameson, and he's my whole world. He's literally my son. And he's getting older, right? He's 9. And this last year and a half, I've traveled a ton, and it's been a lot on airplanes, and he hasn't been able to experience it. And he's getting older. And I've started to really feel bad leaving him, and I can see it in his eyes. And when I am here, I work a ton. We're not doing as much outside as we normally would. Part of that is, he's slowed down a little bit. And so we're not able to do as much as the big stuff, which here, unfortunately, in Utah, the mountains are right there. So as soon as you hit a trailhead, you're in the mountain. So there's not like a cool long approach you can do, there's some stuff, but you're close to the city and it doesn't feel as adventurous. And so I've decided that by going out and literally, traveling around and finding these places, he can be a part of all of it, right? It'll be a constant adventure. We can explore flat lands that, don't have as much elevation change for him, and places we haven't been, and just all types of adventures that I don't even know are there. And I'm a very adventurous person, and I felt very stagnant. And that's really what's happening is, again, I'm not going to try not to get emotional. Utah has been incredible. It's been an incredible chapter of my life. I've been here 16 years, literally half my life. And I felt for the last little while, especially, I would say the last probably 6 months, that the Utah chapter of my life is coming to an end. And I'm extremely, extremely grateful to everyone, everything I've encountered here, all the memories. I mean, this place will forever be home. I think that eventually the Utah lifestyle, which is a little bit slower paced, a little bit more outdoorsy, I think in terms of, you really have to like go be in the mountains and do a lot of things to love Utah. And I do, but because it's my home and because I've taken those for granted, the desire to just go do stuff is not really there. And so really what I'm doing is I'm forcing it upon myself, right? I'm burning the ships. This is it. I'm cutting the cord, so to speak, and kind of forcing myself to get out and expand my horizons, which will be incredible. And I'm excited. And it's going to be an awesome new challenge. And it's really going to get me outside of my comfort zone, which I'm really looking forward to. Now, the business and economic decisions behind it, a couple here. First and foremost, the market's cooling off, and I think next year it's going to dip pretty significantly. I say significantly, I don't mean a crash, but relatively speaking, Utah's market has gone up a ton, and this relates to a few markets and what I think will happen to them. And I think that they'll really cool off, and interest rates are only going up. So because I bought my house almost 4 years, it'll be 4 years in March of 23. So because of the timing that I bought it at and really nailing that, I have a lot of equity. And by that, I mean, like, I'm probably going to take home, I'm going to take home well over six figures, right? Take home after everything, paying my realtor, um, you know, all the fees that go into it, any closing fees, as well as cleaning fees. And, I'm going to have someone come in and stage it and blah, blah, blah. So all of that stuff, right? And there's a few minor updates I'm going to make to it. So uh, because of that, all of that, because of the equity that I have, and I can't rent it because I live in a gated townhouse community, and the HOA only allows so many units to be rented. And I'm ironically next on the list to be able to rent my unit out, but that would require someone who has a rental in here to sell theirs. And unfortunately, because of where the market is, nobody's really chomping at the bit to sell because they don't have to, right? You got people in here with sick equity, super low rates, especially compared to what they're making having it as a rental. So all of that, with the fact that market's going to dip, it would probably be another 3 years, 2 to 3 years before I'd be able to take this equity out. And because I want to leave, I want to leave. I don't want to stay here anymore. The timing is just like, it's perfect. It's exactly when I need to do it. Unfortunately, it's not the top, but like the top of the market, a unit, my same unit size in May sold for 421, listed for 399, sold for 421. But what's a little bit closer to where I'm at is one sold at the end of August for 387. So not going to get 387. Don't plan on getting 387. Not even going to list at 387. But, the market's cooled off just enough. It's kind of one of those things to relate to the stock market where it went up, and now we realize where the top is, but you bought so low, your cost basis is so low that just because it bounced down off the top, you still have a sick gain. And so I'm going to do that, right? And it's going to open up a ton of capital, which is going to allow me to invest even more in the deals that I raise for next year. And so all of that to also be said that my target audience, the people that I want to raise capital from, to really teach, I shouldn't even say raise capital from, to really teach about the power of real estate are millennials. And not just any millennial, but a millennial nomad, someone who can really thrive on passive income, right? Like, their ultimate goal is to not really have a job and just be making passive income so that they can travel around and live this lifestyle of pure freedom, right? No strings attached, if that's your ultimate goal. And passive income, especially passive income in real estate, really, really allows that. And so the best way to go and learn and be able to talk to this demographic of people is to become them. And I have a very adventurous spirit, and I'm really looking forward to this adventure, as well as the people I meet along the way. I'm sure I know the things I'm going to learn I can't even put into place, but hopefully along the way, teach a few people about the power of real estate and passive income. And you know what, full disclosure, yes, I do make money from raising capital, but helping them to continue to live that lifestyle or get to that lifestyle sooner, whatever their goals may be, while also doing it right and walking the walk. And so all of that together, really thinking about it over the last few months, has led to the decision to do so. So very, very excited for that. Obviously a lot still to be done. So currently working on, getting my house cleaned up. It'll be nice because obviously this will require a minimalist lifestyle. So I'm going to purge so much stuff. I've just been collecting stuff over the years that I just don't need. So between, selling a bunch of stuff and then putting stuff in storage, I'm going to get down to just the bare minimum. Obviously I've really nice furniture that's pretty new. I got a whole bunch of new furniture just last year, honestly, or than the last 2 years. So just putting stuff in storage and, going to just completely change my lifestyle. So super, super excited for that. Huge news, obviously. I'm excited and nervous and scared and overwhelmed and just feeling, you know, one second I'm excited, the next I'm like, what am I doing? Should I be doing this? But I know deep down that I need to do this. It's time to change up my lifestyle, change things up, get a change of scenery. And, you know, I got really adventurous during COVID. I kind of talked about what happened during COVID. A lot of personal things happened, and it kind of forced me to get out of my comfort zone. And it changed so much and led me to where I'm at now. And now I've fallen back into kind of a comfortable lifestyle. So where I'm not getting as much done as I want, and really just got too comfortable. So, you know, pulling the last lever that I've got, this is it. And like my life depends on it, I've got to make this work. And so I'm really excited and scared and looking forward to this challenge. So very, very excited. I'm excited to share it with you guys too. I mean, obviously a ton of content going to be coming your way, going to be traveling all over. Please guys, DM me if I should come to your city. Let me know. Would love to see what different cities have to offer. Obviously going to try to get off the grid as much as I can. You know, obviously I still have a business to run. Nothing's changing. Still going to be doing the podcast. Still going to be doing a daily podcast actually. But the cool thing is that not as many, that kind of also, like I alluded to earlier, going to probably switch to at least one more a week of solo episodes, not necessarily next week or within the next couple of weeks, but as we kind of burn through some of the ones that I have recorded. I have like close to 100 episodes stashed up. So we're going to get through a lot of those, not keep as many stashed up. And then once those kind of get through and we get those out, you know, starting probably towards the new year, switching to at least one more solo episode a week, which will be awesome because between Friday follow-up and the other solo episode, I'll be able to really give an in-depth, you know, analysis of not only what's happening economically, financially, in the real estate world, business-wise, but also personal updates, what's happening, adventures, where I'm located, where I'm going, what I'm doing. I've got some plans in terms of potentially having some kind of mobile meetup group to kind of tease that, you know, for people who live that lifestyle. But also if you live in the city where we're doing the meetup, then obviously you're going to be welcome to join as well. So a lot of cool things coming. I'm really, really excited. This was a very long episode, you know, kind of back to the longer Friday follow-up episodes, but I'm very, very excited to come full circle. Super grateful again to April, my producer, to getting me this far. I could not have done it without you. So grateful to watch your next chapter of life as well and where you go, and can't wait to support you there. Very excited for this next chapter in my life. So many big changes coming, but I'm excited. So anyways, you guys, thank you so much for listening. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Happy Halloween, you guys. It's Halloween weekend. Holy cow. I can't believe I almost forgot to mention that. It is Halloween weekend. Hopefully you guys know what you're being. I haven't quite decided yet, but I've got a few things on the back burner. Possibly an astronaut, which I know is lame. Myco pirate. I don't know. I do a lot of lame stuff. I've done some cool stuff over the years, but I have like 4 or 5 costumes that I just kind of rotate. And quite frankly, it's not that I don't care about Halloween. I like it, but I don't get into it like a lot of people. So for me, it's more just about being able to go hang around my friends, have a good time, eat candy, you know, watch scary movies, that kind of stuff, as opposed to like going all out on a costume. So, you know, anyway, don't forget to follow me on Instagram. Only one Instagram now, at Jonny Cattani, JONNY CATTANY. And I will talk to you guys next week. Peace. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching today's episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. Listen, I know it's cliche and you hear it all the time, but please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you know when the next video is coming out. Even though this is technically a daily podcast, you know it's coming out the next day. We have a ton of content coming your way. So please like and subscribe. It helps a ton. Leave comments. Would love to know what you guys think. And we will see you on the next one. Thanks so much.